Hello, everybody. I am Demetra Kaye, and I hope that you are having a great day. Thank you for joining me here on the African Diaspora News Channel, where it is my pleasure to have this great conversation with you. I'm going to be talking about a white Republican agreeing with a Latino radio host who called a black Democrat, Hakeem Jeffries, a cotton picker in a sense, right? So we're going to get into all of that. Who do we have here so far? Tyrone, what's going on with you? King Noble in the building. Sister Shirley, hope you're having a fabulous day. I should also say, too, that before, when I read the comments, y'all see my sweat rings already. Now, when I read the comments, I start at the top, but now I'm going to start at the bottom, if that makes sense, because by the time I get through talking, I'm reading comments that are, regarding things that I had already spoken about. So I'm just going to start at the bottom. And if I did not read your comment, it's not because I didn't want to, it's just for the sake of time. So please do not be mad at me. Mike, how are you doing? I hope that you're doing well today. So anyway, let's go ahead and get into it. So I think it was like a day before or so at this point. It's now going viral. A conversation got recorded, but it also got deleted. Now it was between that of Representative Jen Kiggans from Virginia, and she was on a radio show with a conservative host by the name of Rich Herrera, who is Latino, and they were discussing all the things that were going on in Virginia regarding the redistricting. And they were also talking about Hakeem Jeffries. Now, I'm going to read to you in short what happened, right, before I show you the video. Now, the Virginia redistricting fight became a major national political battle because Democrats were trying to counter Republican-led redistricting efforts happening in states like Texas, Florida, and North Carolina. Now, Virginia Democrats passed the mid-decade redistricting plan and placed a constitutional amendment before voters in 2026. Voters narrowly approved it. The new map would likely have expanded Democrats' advantage in Virginia's congressional delegation from 6 to 5 to potentially 10 to 1, helping Democrats in their fight for the control of the U.S. House. Now, Republicans sued and argued Democrats violated Virginia's constitutional procedures when they approved the referendum process. Republicans said the legislature acted improperly after election procedures had already begun and accused Democrats of partisan gerrymandering. The Supreme Court of Virginia sided with Republicans in a 4-3 ruling and struck down the Democrat-backed maps. The court said that the constitutional process had not been properly followed, making the voter-approved referendum invalid that restored the older congressional maps. Now, after the ruling, Democrats discussed several responses, including trying to win Republican-held seats under the existing maps and exploring aggressive legal or legislative options to restore the map. Now, as for Hakeem Jeffries, he became one of the biggest national Democratic voices supporting the Virginia effort. Jeffries argued Democrats were responding to what he called Republican attempt to rig the 2026 midterm elections through aggressive gerrymandering in Republican-controlled states. He said Virginia voters understood the assignment and were trying to protect a free and fair midterm election. Now, Jeffrey also reportedly said Democrats would do whatever it takes to pass the Virginia referendum and viewed the state as a part of a larger national strategy to regain control of Congress. Now, after the Virginia Supreme Court struck down the maps, Jeffries participated in a private discussion with Virginia Democrats about possible next steps, including ways to continue fighting for new maps despite the ruling. Now, that's where this conversation comes in, where again, Representative Kiggans, or Kiggans, I think that's how you say it, was having a conversation with the conservative radio host, and this is what she got caught agreeing with.
Hakeem Jeffries wants to be involved in Virginia politics, then I suggest he does what a bunch of New Yorkers are doing. Leave New York, move down here to Virginia, run for office down here. You can represent us. If not, get your cotton picking hands off of Virginia.
That's right. Ditto. Yes to that.
Okay. So again, That was her agreeing with Rich Herrera. Now, that's the Richmond's morning show. That's what he is on in part. But she was agreeing that, yeah, because you heard all the things that he said. And I'm going to play it for you again, just so there's no confusion, so we can all be on the same page. Here it goes.
Hakeem Jeffries wants to be involved in Virginia politics, then I suggest he does what a bunch of New Yorkers are doing. Leave New York, move down here to Virginia, run for office down here. You can represent us. If not, get your cotton picking hands off of Virginia.
That's right. Ditto. Yes to that.
Okay, so she ditto means agree, right? Same. That's what ditto means. So he basically said he can move from New York and run for public office there in Virginia, or get your cotton picking hands, basically out of their business there in Virginia. So, of course, there's been a lot of back and forth as to, was it racial? Is it anti-Black? And all of those other things, right? So, what we do know is that cotton picking, right? It means offensive. The offensive origin is the phrase stems from the difficult forced labor of enslaved people and later sharecroppers, primarily Black Americans in the southern United States during the 18th and 20th centuries, right? So we're not confused about that. I think any of us that have heard that term cotton picking, we know what it means. Now, of course, growing up, we've heard the term in cartoons and, things like that. I remember one time, a friend of mine was in class and he had touched something on the white teacher's desk or something. She says, "Get your cotton picking hands off of my desk." Right now, my friend is Black, and my friend, he was aware, even in high school, he was like, "Do you know what you said to me? You called me a cotton picker. You told me to get my cotton picking hands." He says that's racist. And the lady, she just started crying like, "Oh my God, I didn't know. I didn't mean it." It's like, now, lady, you too old to be talking about you don't know what it means, but we're not confused, okay? So again, a lot of people, that's not what it means. Oh, it means that I'm angry, I'm annoyed. That's what people are trying to say that it means. But anyway, we'll get into that in just a bit. Okay. So Representative Kiggans, she was like, this is precisely what's wrong with the Democrats. Every lie and distortion is intended to distract from getting their hats handed to them. And the Virginia Supreme Court's clear message: stop trying to rig our elections. The radio host should not have used that language, and I do not and did not condone it. It was obvious to anyone listening that I was agreeing Hakeem Jeffries should stay out of Virginia. Democrats are trying to destroy Virginia's court because they disagree with it. That is the real danger in our country. Okay. So she's saying, I wasn't agreeing with the cotton picking. I was agreeing with, him staying out of Virginia. Okay. Maybe she was, but lady, you said ditto. I agree, right? To all of that, right? So now how are you cherry picking what you agree with? You said you did, but it should be said that they tried to scrub this stuff all off of the internet. But when people heard it, they made a bunch of copies and stuff. That's how I have it, right? But she's saying that's not what I was agreeing with. But Hakeem Jeffries' office, they in part released a statement saying Jen Kiggans had her chance to disavow the vile, racist, and dehumanizing comments from far right talk show host Rich Herrera. Instead, she doubled down. Then Jen tripled down and attempted to blame partisanship in a pathetic follow-up statement. It was a stunning failure of judgment and leadership for a so-called moderate member of Congress representing a large, vibrant African-American community in Virginia. So basically, Hakeem Jeffries' office is saying, yeah, right, we don't buy it. You had your opportunity to say, wait, whoa. I don't agree with the cotton picking stuff. Now, all that other stuff, yeah, he can move here. Yeah, I agree with that. But cotton picking, I know. I don't think we should say those things. But she didn't say that. And I agree with Hakeem, and I rarely do, but I agree with his office that, yeah, she missed her opportunity to do it. And if you are indeed representing a large Black American district, yeah, that's probably not a good look for you. Right. It sounds like maybe she was going to be caught up in the redistricting things and all that other stuff. But yeah. But you know what, though? I'm not necessarily surprised about her, right? She's a white woman. She's a white woman. And I'm not surprised that she would agree with that type of language, calling a black man, in a sense, a cotton picker. Because when you say somebody might say, well, he didn't call him a cotton picker. Well, if you tell me that I have cotton picking hands, what am I doing with when I'm picking cotton, right? So doesn't that make me a cotton picker in your opinion? So what we're not going to do is try to, finagle our way out of what it is. It indeed is a very anti-black thing to say. And again, a lot of times things just roll off of people's mouth and tongue without them really thinking about it. But anyway, but what I am really more so surprised at is, Rich Herrera. That's him. Okay. He is a big time Trump supporter. I don't know what that means in a larger scheme of things, but yeah, he doesn't bite his tongue about that. But he was the radio host that said that, okay? And he was very vehement about it. His cotton picking hands. So when I say I'm a little surprised, I'm not surprised as much as I would have been, because back in the day, yeah, we're more surprised that it's not surprising that white people say those things, but we would have been a little bit more surprised that Latinos are saying these things. But nowadays, we're kind of being reminded that, hey, no, they with the stuff, right? They with the stuff when it comes to being anti-black. So I just kind of wanted to show you what he looks like, because as I was reading more into it, I said, okay, no, this has a different angle here. That was a Latino. He's a Mexican American. Should say that he was considered to be one of the first MLB, Major League Baseball, Mexican American announcers. He worked there for a while. He works at Newsmax and some other things, right? So he's very right wing, okay? And it sounds like he originates from California. Now, moving on to us learning more and more about the Latinos and their anti-blackness, I want to take you back to 2022. Now, this is a very small audio, rather, from Nuri Martinez, who was at the time the first, as they say, Latina, in a sense, president of the city council there in Los Angeles.
It's like the oddest thing. It's like black and brown on this float, and then there's this white guy with this little black kid who's misbehaved. The kid is bouncing off the effing walls on the float, practically tipping it over. There's nothing you can do to control him.
Okay, so again, that was a small snippet of Nuri Martinez along with her other Latino homies that were sitting on the city council there in Los Angeles, 2022 or 23, I think it was. But anyway, they also, had some very anti-black things to say about that black child, likening him to a monkey. They had some things to say about the darker Mexicans, the Oaxacans, about them being dark-skinned and, all this other stuff, and talking about the white guy that has the black child for whatever reason and saying he's with the blacks and, all that stuff, right? Now, it took them a while to resign. They didn't want to resign because they were like, well, kind of in a sense saying, that's not what we meant. I overspoke and you misinterpreted the things that I was saying. And it was like, how do you misinterpret calling somebody child a monkey? Right. But nevertheless, they did step down. And it sounds like Nuri there had some hardships after that. Sounds like she lost her house and just a lot of things, But it also said that you couldn't even help yourself. I know behind closed doors, people say different things, but I don't know who was recording it, but whoever did, it sounds like it was, a closed door meeting, but somebody probably, like Omarosa, when she went to the White House and she was, with the Trump administration, she put her iPhone on the table and press record. So somebody clearly did that. And my thing is, they probably did it because they had already heard some things that was kind of janky coming from them anyway. So they was probably like, okay, here's my opportunity to bust them. So again, that's one example of the anti-blackness. Now, a lot of people were kind of shocked when they heard that, like, what? Because what do they tell us? They tell us, oh, there's this black and brown unity. Oh, all this black and brown unity, the black and the brown, the black and the brown get down, right? But then when you start to hear those things, it's like, so you don't really like black people like that, right? They were also talking about, redistricting during, that particular meeting. They wanted to kind of keep, I guess, a portion of Los Angeles to the Hispanics because they felt like we have, fought so hard for this, right? So in a sense, they wanted to disinclude the blacks and the Oaxacans who are Mexican. They're just dark skinned, right? And they have black Mexicans as well. But, Nuri, who's a fair-skinned Latina, and the rest of them, I guess they're like, they can't sit with us type of thing. So a lot of people were shocked at that. Okay, well, goes the chipping away of the black and brown unity. Then, of course, y'all all heard about this lady here who happened to be back in the news as of yesterday and the day before. That's Ashley Gonzalez from Houston, Texas. She was a police officer. Sounds like now she's trying to appeal her termination. And as of this moment, she still has her license to be a police officer. That has not been revoked because they said the Houston Police Department and the organization, I think it's called TICO or something like that, that would take her license. And they're basically saying, well, she hasn't been charged with a crime. So we really don't have a reason to take her license at this moment. So she can, in fact, go and apply at a different police office if she wants. But right now she's kind of fighting to stay in Houston. Will she stay there? I don't know, right? It remains to be seen. But of course, y'all know last month she got busted. She was on her private Instagram where I guess she had a select group of anti-black people that she was talking to. And she called us the ERs, and she used the A as well. And she was mad. Apparently somebody went off in her friend's purse or something like that. And she also talked about what she was going to do as a police officer. The next black person that she arrested, they was going to jail. And she talked about some things she may or may not have done while she was enlisted in the Marines. So, from that point, she got fired. But there's a lot of people, believe it or not, that agree with her. They call her Queen Ashley. She spoke the truth and all those other things. And so, again, it's not becoming surprising to us anymore that the Latinos really ain't, messing with black folks like that. And of course, y'all know, I always talk about, and as a lot of people do, the leadership of the Latino community, LULAC, and the things that they've said, that we are not interested in aligning with the blacks, let them fight their own battles. They say that we are white, that they, right, are white. We know that the Negro, they do not have the things that we have, but we don't care. We're not interested in civil rights and things like that. And so they basically have decided to align themselves with whiteness, and some would say white supremacy, right? I mean, if you're a Latino, why are you even using that word? I can't even remember the last time I used the word cotton picking, right? You cotton. I don't remember last time I used it. So why would you have that in your vocabulary, right? Why would you be using that at all? And I wonder if he has said that about anybody that's been discussed white on the show, right? Has he said that about a white Democrat or anything like that? Now, some people say give him the benefit of the doubt, but I'm not going to give him the benefit of the doubt. You know what you're saying. You should anyway, because a lot of those people claim to be so intelligent, right? They know everything, and you don't know that that's a derogatory term for black folks. So it's something that we're learning. But I would say really more so now they understand, or they should, why a lot of black folks are like, I'm not getting out in them streets. I will not put feet in the street to march against ICE or nothing else that benefits you. Because y'all have been very clear that we ain't trying to hang out with y'all. There is no black and brown unity, right? So again, especially when Trump got in office the second time, we're like, nah, we're not going out there. We got things that we need to be doing, right? And if we get out there, it's only going to be for your benefit. Y'all not going to lace up your boots and say, okay, Black Americans, come on, now let's go help fight whatever it is you're trying to fight. Let's go get reparations, because I've showed y'all a million times of them, especially in California, getting together with the Asians and saying, no, we don't want them to have reparations. We don't want them to have it. What about us? We're taxpayers and they don't deserve all of that, right? So black folks have just learned and are learning that there is no black and brown unity. Should there be? Yeah, there should be black and brown unity. But we're also, especially hearing from the black misleadership on the Democrat side. They're the ones that's trying to ram this black and brown unity down our throats. And Hakeem Jeffries, Man, if that don't show you right there that doesn't exist, that man called you a cotton picker, and that white lady agreed with her. If that don't show you that they don't care about you at all, and I know that Latino, he's a conservative. I don't even know what that means in the larger scheme of things if he's more racist, right? Than a Democrat, but there's the brown part of the unity calling you a cotton picker. And we always talk about it. There's a lot of things we couldn't say about them and get away with it. Can you imagine, if that was somebody black saying something, don't say it in the comments, y'all. But somebody derogatory about the Latinos, about what they picking, or what they may be eating and all. Imagine if that happened. Everybody and their mama, including the Democrats. Oh, well, we denounce that. That's aberrant, behavior. Oh, no, we got to stand with our black and brown. We got to get in the back alleys with the black and the brown, right? They would have. But I've seen people like Gavin Newsom. He denounced it. He was like, hey, this is racist and this, that, and the other. I've seen some people, but you couldn't do that to them. That wouldn't be able to roll out of your mouth but for 5 seconds before everybody and their mama come running to the defense of the Latinos. Now, there's another issue to me that's going on, and that's the deducing, if you will, of racism when it comes to us, right? Of course, we've heard the conversation a lot. Oh, well, the word, right, with the ER. Oh, it's just the word. They like to say it's the freedom of speech, right? Even with the Ashley Gonzalez, I've seen a lot of her people, and a lot of them people agree with her. It's just the word. They just they're so sensitive. They need to get over that word, right? And the same thing with this cotton picking. That's just a word. It's not meant for black people. Oh, it means when you're annoyed. It means when you're angry. It's like, what's going on with the hijacking of things that are indeed anti-black, right? It's the hijacking of the narrative and trying to turn it to something else. But again, how many things can we turn around that's negative and derogatory about them and say, well, I mean it as a term of endearment. I don't mean it to be negative. Oh, just get over it. You'd be as I always say, go out into the public. Don't do it. But I'm just saying, if you did, right, go out into the public square and call somebody else, say an Asian something like he said it, right? Do you think you'd get away with that? You know what the conversation would be? The conversation would be, oh, that's a hate crime. Oh, you said some, you know what I'm saying? Because we know that they have a hate crime bill. You can't do that. But it seems like for us, we're supposed to say, well, you know what? You're right. Sticks and stones. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Go ahead. Let it rip. Use the ER if you like. And it's just a word. I'm just going to, grow some thicker skin. No, we're not growing no thicker skin. Again, that word don't belong to us. We don't have a pink slip to that word. That word was never fashioned by us, okay? It belongs to them people. We don't think you should say that to us because, yes, we have seen, as I said the other day, even some of these white women getting rolled up in the public square behind letting that roll up out of mouth, right? Now, we ain't on that type of time where you could just say those things to us and we be all right with it, but we don't own those words now. As the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and even Brother James Baldwin said, yes, we did not create that word, but sometimes we act like that word, right? And we didn't create what they deemed to be that is something that was created on the plantation. Again, they didn't go and kidnap and put on those plantations the ER. Okay, that's not what they found when we were minding our business wherever we were. Now, in a sense, and not even in a sense, that's what not all of us, right? But that's what they turned us into, okay? And I would say even back then on the plantation, our people had dignity. There was things that we didn't see ourselves as, right? Now, I always tell y'all, or people on my show, I've read a lot of the slave narratives, right? Y'all familiar with that? That the Smithsonian, they went and got the testimony of slaves who were freed off of the plantation, like back in the day. And one of the conversations that they were having was about Christianity. And a lot of the slaves was like, We didn't believe in Christianity. We knew it was a lie. Because per what we were being taught is if you do something bad, you're gonna right? You're gonna plummet to hell. It's bad. You can't do this. An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, right? That's because they didn't teach them the whole part of the Bible, hence that of Nat Turner, okay? Because when he learned the other parts and all of that, he was like, word, I've been lied to, right? So they taught him you must obey. When you go to heaven, you're gonna be washed white as snow. Don't do anything bad. But that was really taught to them from leave master alone, okay? I know y'all outnumber them on this plantation, but don't you get no ideas of running up into the house and doing a Nat Turner. But what they said was, we knew all that was a lie. And we knew that Massa didn't believe in that, because if they did, they wouldn't be doing the things that they did to us, right? Because surely it's not going to be us that's just going to hell. If you're saying this God is, this all knowing and blah, 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 then doesn't that include you? So they said we obviously just went along with those things because duh, right? We ain't trying to have a foot chopped off or be whipped or all the other austere things that happened to us. But they said we knew that their version, especially of Christianity, wasn't the truth. So what I'm saying is our people were not stupid on those plantations, and that they always subscribed to the things that were being put on them. The question is, and this is a different conversation for a different day, why do we do it now, right? Different conversation. But again, what we ought to do is fully reject those things when we hear that coming from, regardless of whoever it is. We should never get used to, it's just a word, because sometimes you even see and hear people who look like us, oh, it's just the word. We should not, hell no. It ain't you. See, I'll be on the energy of I wish you would. I really hope you don't, but I wish you would. Right? And my thing is fair, right? In regards to the hijacking of narratives. Because when different Black folks from around the diaspora were trying to hijack Black History Month, we was about that life, wasn't we? As I said, I didn't even know y'all wanted Black History Month like that. Wow. Because the conversation was, oh, that's about us too. And it's like, come on, stop it. Okay, that was not about you. Y'all got Black History celebrations where you're from, right? Whatever. So we did not let that ride. We did not let them hijack, or what was the term people were using? Or erasure, right? We did not let people erase our history and then rewrite the narrative, and we can't let them do it. Whether they white, Latino, or whatever, we need to be outspoken about it. But surprise, never that. We're not surprised if it comes from the white folks, if it comes from the Latinos or whatever. That's just how they get down. But more importantly, because the direction I wanted to kind of go with this until I kind of delved a little bit more into it is, yeah, that's a terrible term to use about anybody. But when we do get ourselves together a little bit more, we're doing it now, right? We got to give ourselves some credit. We hear those things and we just shoulder shrug. So what? Because let's keep it a buck. There's a lot of things that we say about them. Now, we don't say them here. At least I don't. But man, if there was a hot mic in my house, oh, they'd be upset. And often it involves, mayonnaise and a whole host of other things. Right? So, we get ourselves together. They don't have an effect on us like that. We say, so what? Right? We don't care what you call us because we got our money. We circulating our dollars. We got our Black towns and, all these other, we don't care. In fact, those things will never make it to our Black-owned media airways, right? Because we don't discuss y'all. You're not important to us. What's important to us is us, okay? I don't care if they run out of mayonnaise where you're from. It would never affect me. That's on you. Okay. So we got to get to that point. So anyway, before I jump into the comment section again, I'm going to start at the bottom, y'all. Okay. So I can be relevant in my comments. Please join me along with the African Diaspora News Channel in Ohio, Columbus, to be exact, May 23rd, where we are going to be having a great conversation. You do not want to miss it. I just got the talking points today. And of course, we're going to be answering questions and asking questions and all of that. So please make sure you get your tickets at ohioblackexpo.com, ohioblackexpo.com. And it's not just going to be us. It's going to be Loose Ends. It's going to be Rhapsody. It's going to be, who else? October London. Yes, indeed. I got to wear my good outfit that day. I'm just kidding. He's old enough to be my child. But I like his music. There's going to be food and a whole host of other things. So please, if you're in the area, come out and see us. That's not this weekend, but next weekend, right? Also, speaking of Black media, that where we're not going to be discussing them people on our airwaves, like when we get our Black Town up and running, please make sure that you get the African Diaspora News Channel app. Go to your Google, your Apple Play Store to get that right now. If you don't have it, if you do have it, thank you so much. But if you don't have it, I'm going to keep asking, what's taking you so long? We have almost 2 million subscribers here, and trust me, we should have a lot more, right? Should have a lot more, because God forbid this YouTube or Facebook goes away. Where would you find us? Where would you get conversations like this? It's a scary thought. So anyway, download the app. All right, I'm in the comments section. Let's see. I start with Vanessa. How you doing? It says, I warn now, and people halt with craziness toward me. Yeah, it's like, don't be stepping to me with the foolishness with all the ERs and I don't care how you say it, with the A on the end, the ER. Do not talk to me like that, okay? Especially if you from somebody from another race, because I want to know, what about me made you think you could even talk to me like that or around me like that? Do I look like I'm pumping Kool-Aid from my heart? Not at all, right? See, I take stuff like that personally. Because I don't ever want you to think that that's okay to talk like that to me or around me, right? Street Nasty says, be like, can you beat my Ado? Well, I'm a lady, right? I don't want to be getting into no fights with nobody physically, but I know how to defend myself if I need to. Hopefully it doesn't get to that point. Hopefully we can come to an understanding verbally, but I ain't gonna put your hands on me until you put yours on put my hands on you unless you do it to me. So yeah, why Mason was going on says FBAs are getting to the point that we are proud of our ancestors. Yes, I've always been proud of my ancestors, right? And we should be proud of our ancestors. But again, we were taught to even not talk about the ancestors at all. They didn't exist. As far as they taught us, right? As in Martin Luther King Jr., and that's great, right? And now Malcolm X is fashionable, but back in the day he wasn't. You can go in the Target and get him on a t-shirt. Now they love Malcolm X. You know why I say they love Malcolm X? Because they know that we don't. Now, I'm not talking about us, but I'm talking about them over there. They know we don't love Malcolm X. And I'm not saying rattling off on, his birthday, which is coming up soon. I'm not talking about, Malcolm X said, because it's easy to talk, Malcolm, but do you walk, Malcolm? Malcolm X told us a whole lot of things that would help us as Black Americans, overcome the things that we got going on now, and we don't do that. So, yeah, but we should be proud of all of our ancestors. Absolutely. Life Lessons, how you doing? Says, ew, I hate mayonnaise. Well, they don't. Darnisha, what's going on? Says, we don't even care what they're doing. We really don't. I promise you, we don't. Like, I don't wake up every day and say, I wonder what white America is doing. Wonder what they're thinking about, what they're talking about. I don't think of that. And what kind of seasoning are they putting in their food, right? Salt and pepper. I don't think about those kind of things. But we're always on their mind. I get it. We are a dope and dynamic group of people. Of course, we're on their minds. I understand it. But it's even to the point as like when we was talking about separating, we need to continue to have that conversation. Well, we're all human. Why would you want to go? You don't want to see us leave because what would you do? You didn't even know you were supposed to wash your legs up until a couple years ago. Fishing with Rick, where have you been? How are you doing? You said what's important to us is my job. Yeah, we care about what's important to us. That's the conversations we need to have. Aaron, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Says we have to get on code and stand 10 toes down for Black first. Absolutely. LB chill. He says a casserole with peas and carrots and mayonnaise. Oh, let me stop laughing too hard. I'm about to start sweating. McQueen, how you doing? Says the Mayo and non-American Saison Latinos think we're worried about them. They don't even cross our minds. We really don't. We don't think about them. I mean, I know y'all don't. I don't. I don't. Even when I see him out in public, I don't think, what is that white lady got in her basket? I don't even care. I don't. At all. And I think that kind of bothers them. And I think too with the Latinos, they like to be down with black folks or whatever. They cosplay and stuff as well. And I think they feelings really be hurt when we be like, no, you can't. Like that's ours. Y'all like to plagiarize stuff like y'all came up with it and want to argue with us over the stuff that belongs to us. And I think they really get mad. I think a lot of them are mad that they can't say the A and the ER because I don't mean it like that. I'm just like what's up? Okay. Axel Vader, how you doing? It says I hate mayo too. Albie, we're hitting the stage at 3 o'clock. I think it's Eastern time, or 3 o'clock in Columbus, Ohio. So yes, 380 Sports. How you doing? Says, wow, I heard the comment, but I had no idea he was Latino. See, that's what happened when you go digging. You got to go digging in the scene with a gangster lean, right? Let me stop. Yeah, you got to go. That's what I try to do. I try to see what more can I learn from this situation other than the surface thing, right? But you say they're trying so hard to join in on black racism to try to take the target off their backs with ICE and immigration. Yeah, you know what? I saw an article today too that says a lot of the legal immigrants are saying, man, I quit. They tapping out and they just leaving. They're like, I can't fight Trump and them. I'm leaving. They said more and more of them just like, I'm out. So yeah. Truth is what's going on with you. Hope you're doing well. First class citizen, what's going on? Hope you're having a great day. Who else haven't I seen? I got to try to get everybody gold crown eyes. How you doing? Albert Chill says, I love Brother Malcolm. Everyone needs to listen to the Ballad of the Bullet. I have, he says, and his last speech in Detroit. Absolutely. But again, let's listen and let's actually do, because we're not really doing the doing part, right? It's nice to quote, as they say in the nation, people are quotologists, right? They run around quoting. It's like, okay, great. But are you actually putting the quote to use? Are you doing the things that Malcolm said? Are you even doing the things? And listen, I know people have fallen out of favor with Marcus Garvey for whatever reason. People don't like Marcus Garvey anymore. And I don't even go that far into the weeds with the conversation. I'm like, man, I like Marcus Garvey. Okay, I know he wasn't Black American, but he was down for Black Americans and people all over the diaspora. But if we were to listen to the things that like if you think about Marcus Garvey, it's like that's some gangster stuff right there. He got all these people worldwide, Black people on the same page. Of course, we know what happened, but he was on the move. I mean, we had factories and boats, steamships, right, and printing press. Like we was doing things, and he was like, hey, let's get together because we all got the same enemy, right? We know what happened with that. He said, up you mighty nation. So he considered Black people all over a mighty nation, not this funky America, right? A nation, right? Like the Nation of Islam. They're a nation within a nation. But Marcus said, up you mighty nation, accomplish what you will, right? Again, you mighty. He called us mighty because he knows the strength and the power of Black folks. He was like, basically, hey, bump what they done taught us. Not just here in America. Again, I know he wasn't American, but he was here, okay? But all over. They have taught us to hate ourselves, like Malcolm said, right, in that speech. Who taught you to hate yourself? He's like, we are mighty people, and we got to start walking like that. We got to start talking like that. That's why there's this argument, and I'm so glad it's not on my timeline anyway, but this whole conversation about the Black man and, he hates Black women, and the Black woman who hates, I don't know where that came from, right? But there were some Black people who were mad that we called each other kings and queens. Like, let's say some of the brothers that's in that space, right? Say, oh, y'all call them queens. They're not queens. That's why y'all call them queens. She ghetto. And I had to remind some people, right? Because we come from that. And when you call somebody a king or a queen, that is a reminder, especially if they're not acting like that. Hey, queen. Hey, king. That's meant as a reminder. That ain't it, right? What you doing? What you saying? What you wearing? That ain't it, queen. Hey, queen. That is a reminder for her to, sometimes she don't even have her crown on. Hey, go get your crown. Make sure it's adjusted. It's the way you want it. And then you walk like that. That's what that is, right? And same thing for men. Yeah, hey, brother. Hey, king. I see you, king. That's a reminder for him. Put your crown on and act accordingly. So when Marcus Garvey said, up you mighty, that was a reminder that you are mighty. You're not this defeated people that these people did to y'all on the plantations here, the plantations in South America, and on the continent, still going on to a degree. It was a reminder. So when we start walking like that, I'm going to tell y'all right now, okay? Anybody who knows me, I don't walk in no room defeated. I don't walk nowhere defeated, okay? Because I wake up and I know who I am, not just as an individual, but as a Black American. There is pride in being a Black American. And I don't even know why I'm going off on this tangent, but I'm feeling led by something, okay? We don't, and maybe something Albie Chill said, we don't understand the pride that comes along with being a Black American. People aren't cosplaying Black Americans because we ain't all of that. You don't go and cosplay the weakest people on the planet. You don't go cosplay the people who are less creative on the planet. We could take this pen, right? This is how dope we are as a people. We could take this pen and, I don't know, do something with it. And then you're going to see it on TikTok and everybody, they ain't going to do it right, but they going to try to do it nevertheless. We take stuff. I always use the example of them ugly little shoes, the Crocs. When the white women was wearing it, everybody's clowning the shoes like, ew, that's some ugly shoes, right? But what happened when we got a hold of it? We tricked them out. We put all the little things. I know they still had the little things on it, but they didn't do it like we did it. Them shoes was blinging and all kind of stuff, right? So I'm saying there's pride in being Black American, and stop listening to the haters, the fakers, the shakers, the naysayers that always got something to say about us. When I was a kid, right? The white kids, when I was walking from school, to me and my siblings, y'all got big noses, y'all got big butts and lips and all this stuff. That didn't really bother me. You know why? Because I had a different upbringing, right? I had a daddy and a mom was like, these white folks, they lay out in the sun. Psh, right? That's how it sounds. They try to get dark like you, okay? They put on, this is my daddy. This is a conversation my daddy used to have with me and my sister. They wear all this makeup because they ain't got no color. They trying to look like you, right? So I grew up like that. Did I like that they talked to me like that? No, but I understood. I was built unique. My dad used to always say, your nose is bigger than theirs so you can get more oxygen. That's the stuff my dad used to say to me. And I was like, yeah. I do that. And I never thought about changing my nose. Like none of that kind of stuff. I was proud to have a big nose. My mama had big lips, right? I was proud of those things because I knew that I was different from them, not just different because of my skin and my features, but deep down inside. And you come to 2026, as I tell you all the time, I'm in the gym and I don't see them people. I'm trying to be nice. I usually see a lot of Latinas. They got these ill-formed booties, and it's like, you asked the doctor for that? And as I said the other day on my show, they're not going to Dr. Miami or Dr. San Bernardino or Tijuana, Dr. D, wherever they getting these booties from. They're not going in there and saying, give me the ironing board special. I want one like Becky. I want a booty like Becky. Just give me a crack. That was probably too far, right? They saying, nah, give me the donk. Give me something with some weight on it, okay? because they trying to look like the sisters. See, yes, I said some of us got that naturally, right? And some of us, we so sleep, we going to trying to look like them. See, that's why I say I'm glad that I had the upbringing I had. Because my daddy was like, ain't nothing wrong with you. Ain't nothing wrong with your sister. Ain't nothing wrong with us at all as Black people. They envy us. And when I got older, I understood exactly what he meant, right? I've had people tell me, "Oh, why don't you what is it? Get a silk press on your hair." Right? I'm like, "For what? Ain't nothing wrong with my hair. My hair don't grow down. My hair grows up." Right? My sister, she's a teacher and she has a student in her class and she's the 5th grade. I think they're 5th grade. Her students, she sent me a picture. Her afro was so just big and beautiful and luscious, but the other kids were teasing her. And my sister said, "Can you give her a word about her hair?" I said, "She looks like a goddess." I said, "She's a sun goddess." Says, "Tell her she's a sun goddess because her hair grows up toward the sun." I said, "Tell her that the sun really loves her, right? The sun loves us." And my sister was like, "Wow." She was just, she loved that. I said, "Tell her, don't you be ashamed of your hair. That's how your hair grow out of your head. And if you want to pick your hair out in a big old afro and you walk around the school, that's what you do." Them other kids, they need somebody to impart some wisdom in them to teach them how to love themselves. But there's nothing wrong with you, right? So when we start having pride, like pride for real, as Black Americans, things are going to change. When we start having self-esteem, like a healthy self-esteem, right? I know who I am. And guess what? They know who we are. Why you think they've tried so hard? And I know I'm preaching to the choir, but why you think they trying so hard? They're trying so hard to suppress us. Everything we do, everything we say, they try to suppress us. And not only is it just white folks, you got the Asian community. They running around with Edward Blum trying to take what they thought that we was benefiting from, but you really stuck it to the white women. Now you got the Latinos, they hating on us. You listen, you don't go after the weaker people or the weaker thing. You try to, if you weak, right? That's what weak people do. They try to take down the most dominant thing. We know that there's dominance in everything that we do. But see, when we really start walking like that, we start teaching our babies like that, ooh, ain't nothing we can't do, right? So those are the conversations that I like to have. And I mean this deeply. I don't give a damn what the white people say about me. I don't care what the Latinos say about me. I don't care what the Asians say about me because, as I said, I could walk outside right now and see one of them walking around Black American influenced, whether it's the music they listening to, whether it's them with the BB Hales at the gym or whatever it is, right? They didn't want to, pop a Black American lingo, whatever it is. I don't see them too much. Yeah, in a sense, sometimes they do try to mimic the white people, but we the money makers around here. We make money for everybody else but us. And that's a problem. See, because when you have self-esteem and you see them people moving your neighborhood, you don't go over there. You ain't the first in line. Oh, they got a new chicken and rice house here. I'm going to see what it's about. You don't know how to make chicken and rice at the house? You don't know how to fry chicken? Like I said, that blows me away when I hear that they frying chicken in Black neighborhoods and we going to buy it. What has happened to us? Right? And then I put a clip up like 2 years ago. There was this Korean lady. She was on some cooking show and they were frying chicken. And she goes, "Oh yeah, the Koreans, the Korean soldiers, they're the ones that came up with, they used to fry this chicken." And then the white host says, "Pump your brakes, sis." He says, "And how did those Korean soldiers learn how to fry chicken?" She looked. He says it's because the Black American soldiers over there taught them during the war how to fry chicken. Right? So he was like, don't you get it messed up. Don't you get on this. Just a white dude who had to correct it. Don't you get on this show trying to, hijack chicken frying. Right? So we got to raise our self-esteem. That's all I'm saying. Right? We got to have some pride and say, I am a big deal, aren't I? Black Americans are a big deal. Again, we are the flex. Whether they talk about us negatively to make some money, black people this, black people that, black people this, black people. And then they have a whole bunch of people show up. Yeah, the usual suspects and all this other stuff. It's like, y'all not interesting at all. Like, y'all don't have nothing to talk about. Like, okay, today this white lady was over here and she was doing, because when nobody show up, don't nobody care about what Karen is doing. You know what I'm saying? So y'all know that if you talk about black people, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, it's going to put a little change in your pocket. You're welcome, right? But we don't have to answer to all of that. We don't have to believe. Like, I get so mad at some of us sometimes, let's say, again, speaking of media, right? Especially with the white media. If there's somebody black do something, oh, look what they did. Oh, it's the blacks, it's the blacks, it's the blacks. Then one of us will get in the comment section saying, this is why they don't like us. This is why white people don't like us. And I'm like, did they like us when they put us on those plantations? Did they like us when they were snatching our babies and making them alligator bait? So you mean to tell me this story that they've put up on the news and they just keep running and running and running, this is why they don't like us? Tell me that you're in love with white folks without telling me that you're in love with white folks. Because see, when you're in love with them like that, you care about them. Oh, they're never gonna like us. You blacks just keep making it worse. It seems like they were getting ready to like us, but now they don't. Get some knowledge of self, right? You get some knowledge of self. You don't care whether they like you or not. I don't care at all. I'm going to sleep the same. I'm going to wake up the same. I'm going to eat some food with some seasoning on it. Right? I don't care. So anyway, I'm getting to the comment section for the last couple of minutes that we got. Though I went off on God knows what. D Toppy was going on, says, I don't eat at those restaurants. Homemade is always better. It is, right? James Brown, how you doing? Says, we must discontinue hating who we are and loving who we could never be. Well, it ain't that who we could never be. We've always been that. We've always been that, right? Again, it's been suppressed. We just got to remind ourselves every day, hey, you are all that. And then everybody is wrapped up into trying to be like Black Americans, right? Everybody want to be like us, right? Sometimes, like when I do it often, I wear my hair on the afro. Yeah, people, oh, that's nice. Like, yeah, you don't put your hands on it though. Okay. Don't put your hands on me at all. They don't see, a white woman walking in her hair and saying, oh, that's nice. They see you. Oh, that's nice. I was at the rodeo. I told y'all the story. Rodeo. And I like to put on some clothes, right? When I go out, I had on a hat, some boots. I was fully covered. So white dude. We was coming down the ramp, right? We came from seeing Lizzo. Coming down the ramp and slowly coming down the ramp. And he was behind me. He says, might I just want to tell you, what did he say? He says, you look phenomenal. You look phenomenal. I just, you don't mind if I tell you that? I said, oh no, well, thank you. All right. Thank you. I guess, but maybe I did. Anyway, Pamela says the Tegan law, Demetra, I didn't know you were talking about hair because that's what I was saying too. Something I said, I know, I'm sorry. Andrew, it says, sounds good, but it seems you're trying to divide us. Me? Why? What the, Andrew, I'm going to go, if you're still here, I'm going to go all the way down to the bottom and you tell me what I said that sounded like I'm trying to divide us. All that I was saying, what you extrapolated from that is that I'm trying to divide us, brother. What you on? What you on these comment sections? What did I say that said that I was trying to divide us? All that I just said. See, that be the problem right there. We don't listen. I don't know. Maybe I did say something, but I don't think that I did. See, if you listening to try to poke holes in, you're the problem. And I say that you're the problem because with Black unity that it should be taking place, you got people, and I'm saying this in love, okay, like you, that would take all that I just said and finagle it and said I'm trying to divide us. And who is this us that you're talking about? Maybe you're talking about somebody else. Maybe not. I'm gonna wait and see. I don't want to go too far into the weeds. Um, let's see. Yes, Fishing with Rick. We are the flex. Corey, how you doing? Says, let them know, Demetra. They don't like us, but they want to be us all day long. It's not, I'm not making this up. Y'all know I'm saying it's true, right? Darlene, how you doing? Says, they don't like me and I hate them. Well, I don't care that you don't like me. I'm not going to, and I can't tell you what to do. You probably have valid reasons. I don't hate anybody. A strong dislike, right? I think it's too energy, time consuming to hate them. I think the best thing to do is love us because that they'll misinterpret that as hate anyway. Whenever you say Black power, I love Black people. What about all people? I'm not talking about you, and I'm not talking to you. Told y'all the story when I was went to my job to get something real quick, and I took my daughter with me. She's probably like 5 years old. We're leaving for whatever reason. She felt inspired. She says Black power. And so then when I went back to work, my white supervisor's like, yeah, I noticed your daughter said white power. Why do you teach her, not white power, Black power? Why do you teach her to hate white people? I said, can I ask you what about that made you think she hates white people? He didn't say nothing. I said, she said Black power. How did you take that to mean you hate white people? She hates white people. No, I didn't think about it like that. I said, because that's your own understanding of Black power, is that you think that Black power means that we hate white people. No, it means we love Black people. We want power to Black people because we want it back. Okay. We want our power back. That's what that means. So yeah. DMAC, how you doing? I hope that you're doing well. He says in 2026, we shouldn't care about anyone else but ourselves. We really need to conduct ourselves better between one another. Come on now. Yep. And Sheila, how you doing? Says the house ones. Yeah, the house ones, they try to, mess up what we doing. Pop, how are you doing? I hope you have a great day. BB, what's going on with you? He say Pop, he says the house of pancakes. Here is really the house. I already knew. Albert says, did you see Ralph Warnock bringing AOC to his church on last Sunday? I heard about it, but yeah, you better thank a union member. I can only imagine. Andre, how you doing? I hope that you're doing well. Derry, what's going on with you? Going all the way to the bottom. Life's lessons. How you doing? Says some people just can't handle the truth, and that's okay. They'll be all right. We're just gonna keep telling it though. Scoop, how you doing? Says I never worried about the folks not liking me. I use it for motivation. I always been bigger, stronger, and better than them. Their jealousy of this black skin. Hell yeah. Can you imagine seeing some black people laying out in the sun and not looking like a lobster? Like we can do it longer, right? Hey, midwife, how you doing? It says, come on, sis said, I will. My address, what's going on? It says, thanks for reporting this, Demetra. Why do the DNC shills refuse to discuss any of the anti-black bigotry from people of color like Rich Herrera? Because then it distorts their version of black and brown unity. See, if they talk about it, then they have to admit that it doesn't exist. But the Democrats are still trying to sell us on there's black and brown unity. Should there be? Yes, but it needs to be the right way. It's not going to help the brown when the brown needs the black, and never the brown help the black when the black need the brown. You right? The way it is only when they need us. And we ain't falling for it no more. It needs to be a two-way street. Until then, beat it. Alexander, what's going on? She says nobody cares about Disney Plus anymore. It's ruining the Walt Disney Company as we speak. I don't. Okay. D-Mac says it's up to us to be happy and cheer for us. Keep the ego, ignorance, jealousy, and self-sabotaging out of it. Absolutely. Hey George, how you doing? Says be unto our Heavenly Father and Father Adonia, Yasha, yeah, all of that. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And thank you for that. I got to get out of here, y'all. But I love and appreciate every last one of y'all. Come back and see me tomorrow, 11 a.m. Central Time. Peace.